going to make something like this. How do I make it? First, I will roll the slab around this supporting cylinder and then cut it and attach it. And after that, I remove from this cylinder, I kind of push it into oval shape and then just attach the base. Okay, that's how I form it. If you don't want to make it into or alter it into different shape, you just keep it as a round one, okay, the circular one. I will remove the canvas texture by using this, the metal rib. Usually I'm use the curved side to do that. If you are using this side here, sometimes you might scratch, the two corners might scratch lines. But if you're using the circular one, you will avoid that. Okay, and hold it more horizontal, the better. Okay. They stick it down here, so I don't need to wipe it. All right, so that is the how you smooth. And if you want to do the texture, roll your texture like this one. The texture, this is the roller. Okay, I have a couple more of them. Not all of them, but I have several of them you can choose from. Okay, feel free to share in the class. So I put the texture over that. This is the MKM roller, the long one, but they don't have the handle to go with it. This is I custom made myself handle. Just drill 2 holes here, so you could roll it here. But when you roll it, because this is flexible, so you might slightly pinch, and then hold your pressure here, and then you roll it. Okay. If you don't hold it, you don't pinch, this might open. It might open. So.
Do you make the roller yourself?
This one, this is called MKM. Yeah, you got it from this manufacturer. Yeah, and they also have a shorter one. Right, and now I want to make sure about how tall you want it, and you could have a use the T square to cut it. T square. So you want to cut a perfect rectangle shape. Okay, perfect rectangle shape. So let's do this here. So you chop it off, and like I told you that you want to cut a perfect rectangle, so that's what this T square is all about. So that is a 90 degrees, right? 90 degrees. Right here, so I will use the max amount of it. And also you need to decide how long this will be, right? So let's do it right over here. From this part here, you roll, right here, right? But you don't cut exactly. You want to slightly a little bit wider, so I'll probably cut it right over here. Maybe 2 to 3 inches more than enough. And later on, if you have more, you can always chop it off. But if you don't have enough, you're going to be in trouble, right? So make sure you got enough. Probably I don't have enough for the base. You need to reserve one for the base, but I don't have enough. But later on, I can do that.
So the overlap is 2 to 3 inches.
Yeah, 2 to 3 inches. I would say 3 inches is to be more secure. I will show you how to trick the overlapping. Right, so that is perfect rectangle. But one other problem is that I want the texture to be outside. So I have to flip it, right? I have to flip it. You can flip it with use two balls and then you sandwich and flip it. Okay, and if you don't have that option, you could probably a little bit hard to do that, but I should flip it onto the paper because later I'm going to use. I want a little bit touch of the clay, so that's why. So I flip it over to paper. And now you are going to wrap your clay around this supporting cylinder. But remember this, somehow if you hold it very tight, your clay might stick it on here. So what you do, wrap a newspaper around it. Yeah. So you tuck this in here and use a tape to tape it.
I'm thinking if you want to do the pattern inside, if you roll out to the outside, it's going to ruin the outside pattern.
She just asked, no,
Yeah.
it's not going to ruin it.
Oh, no.
Okay, so now let's do that. Just make sure that the edge here is lined up in here. Okay, and you bring your clay over here. Lightly push. And bring your clay paper to level 1. That's okay. Two layers would be better. All right, that's okay. To make sure that the overlapping, see that I reserved like 2 inches, and it's almost not quite enough. You want to have a more overlapping. Okay. And I will tell you the reason why you want to do that. Overlapping a bit more so you will be able to see it more clearly. Right. So to cut it right in the middle, okay? When you have an overlapping, first you draw just a reference line here. So this is the middle, right? This part here is overlapping. So I put one dot here, this part here is overlapping here, right? And I'm connecting this line, these 2 dots together. So this is where I'm going to cut it, okay? And when you cut it, you don't want to cut it straight vertical, okay? You want to hold your tool slightly angle. So when you cut it, you have more, it's like 45 degrees, 45 degrees. So, yeah, it's wedged, yeah. And this is your guideline, so you are going to cut right there, holding your tool at an angle. Yeah, you want to cut both together, okay? All the way touching, the tool is touching your supporting cylinder. And let's open up a little bit and remove the other piece. You remove it, right? And then you could bring it back. Okay. Now you see that the joint is slightly angled, so you have the maximum portion of the clay attached together, which will keep it more stronger. Okay. And also here, we are going to attach two pieces of clay together. You could add a little bit of a slip. Okay. Slip is as a glue. Okay. As a glue, but we don't have a slip. So we are going to make a slip right off the seam line here, right? I'm just using the toothbrush.
So that's just water, right?
Just water, but when you go back and forth, you are making the slip right on the spot that you are going to join. Right? You see that there's a little rubber slip there on the here too, right? Right? So that is another tip for you if you don't have slip. Actually, you can just get a piece of clear small container, add a little water, and use a stick to stir. You can make your slip right away. But if you are in a rush, this is another way to make your slip. Right. So here I am moving it back.
You're not stirring it?
Actually, when you are using that toothbrush, you already score because the brush has the rough surface. Right, so that is the joint.
Just slightly pressing it here?
Yeah, slightly squeeze the press in together. Yeah, it's going to stick as long as you have a pressure. So the pressure is very important. And also, you see that I'm kind of losing the texture a little bit. You can bring back the roller and just roll it again. Kind of disguise it. Yeah, first you need to add the slip, enough slip, and then when you push the clay together, you want to squeeze it. The pressure and slip is the key for joint, a very good joint. Slip and pressure, this kind of pressure. So that is very important technique of joining two pieces of clay together. All right, and now it is already formed. And I need to have a bottom piece. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, you want to see me making a mistake, right?
Yeah.
So that you learn from my mistake.
Right.
That should be fine, yeah. Pressure, okay, pressure. The slip, I didn't add a slip here, but I know that pressure should be enough for that. And this is probably not enough, and I could.
You can just press it as an elbow.
It's okay. Now we can make it slightly wider or using a rolling pin.
The guideline for the thickness of the bottom?
No, there's no guideline. Just not too thin. That's all.
So it's about the same
There.
as the wall.
Slightly, it could be slightly thinner. Could be slightly thinner, right? Okay. Let me put the texture back again. All right. Like I told you that if you want to make it into an oval shape, which is what I'm going to do, because if I'm joining in a circular shape, this is not wide enough. Okay. So I'm going to make it into a circular shape. So now I am pull out the supporting cylinder, and I could remove the paper too. Right, and form my cylinder into a oval shape. See that? That's enough. Right, that's enough. Right, and for putting my piece on the board, so it's easier for me to move the pieces around. Okay, I'm making tracing the outer part of the oval because I need to add slip. Right, so that is slip. Again, I don't have a slip, so I can use.
You're not worried about that sticking to the board?
This one?
The bottom?
Yeah, if you are worried about it sticking to the board, you can put a piece of paper underneath. Yeah. For wooden bowl, I wouldn't worry about that much because it's porous, so meaning it's going to absorb the water. And once the water is absorbed, you can separate it easily. Versus if you have something that is non-porous like plastic, I'm sure that the clay is going to stick onto the board. Okay. Okay. If you wanted to, you can flip it. You can flip it and then add a texture to the base too. Add the slip to the base. Yeah, the beauty of the clay not being too thin. So you see that you can hold, once you form your shape, you can hold your clay a lot easier. Okay, so that's it, and then flip it over slightly to wide, so make sure I move it back to the form. Okay. Inside looks fine. Slightly squeeze it so you apply a bit of a pressure, and then now you need to do this cutting along the edge of it.
Seems like you leave a little space.
A little space in between. You mean I cut it slightly wider?
Right.
Yeah, I cut it. Yeah, maybe 1/16 of an inch wider. Yeah, slightly wider than the actual size. I am going to pick it up. See that? It's very easy to release from the wooden bowl. Slightly pound it on the table. Let it drop down so the gravity is going to hold your joint a lot better. Okay. And now all you need to do is use a little extra clay and you kind of blend it. Okay. You push it up. Okay. You push it up there and you move it up. That's why I cut it slightly bigger, okay, slightly wider than your size. And then
Will make it joint better.
that will make it joint better. Yeah, you kind of blend it and push the clay up. Okay, push it up.
Do you do anything on the inside?
Hmm?
Do you do anything on the inside?
You could do something on the inside, but for me, I think for dropping on the table, that the pressure, the down pressure is strong enough. So I wouldn't about that when it dried or when after fire it was separate. And also you're going to add glaze inside. The glaze, if in case there's a little gap in there, the glaze is going to unseal it. So I wouldn't worry about, especially this kind of pressure. If you have this kind of pressure, like side-by-side joint, then you need to do a better job on that. Okay? But the top on the bottom, that I wouldn't worry about. All right, and make sure that it's nicely foaming. Since the clay is still soft, so you could do a little bit of adjustment. Okay. For the same line inside, I will wait till it's firmer a little bit, and then my hand goes inside there, and then can kind of slightly blend the clay together. Okay, blend the clay together. Or if you cannot reach it, you can get a piece of stick and go in there and kind of blend together.
Why you need
Yeah, I guess you can still see the same line there.
Oh, I
The
see.
same line. If you go like squeeze that, right? That way the joint was better.
Yeah.
Okay. For this part here, later you can just use a paper towel to go around it like we did the sushi plate. Go back and forth, and that part will be smooth. Or if you're gonna cut it more level, I think this is really good. But in case you didn't do a good job on cutting your perfect rectangle, you could cut it level and then smooth it. Okay. So that is our demonstration on this very basic holding tube. We have more tubes there, so you can choose from. Okay. Any question about our demonstration? Yeah.
When do you do your label on the bottom?
The label on the bottom, you could do it when I was rolling, I'm planning, I can sign my name there. But now it's too late, I didn't, right? So later, once it's firm enough, you will be able to flip over and just sign it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Questions? No? Yes.
If you wanted to add like another slab to the top to add some more decoration, the hardness of the clay, it would need to dry a lot before it would support something else? Or?
No, I think this is strong enough. If you want to add it right now. Yeah. If you add it too late, this part here is already dried out, and then when you attach new fresh clay, that might be wet. The dry part is already shrink, but your wet part is going to shrink more than the drier part. That causes the trouble. So always you want to attach two pieces together. Make sure they are at the same dryness stage. Okay. You know, way one that is too dry and one too wet, and when you join them, I guarantee they will crack. Okay. Any other questions? No? Good? All right, so now it's your turn. Let me know if you need any help. Okay?